And we're back. Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 2 of the Overachievers. I'm your host, Martin Amini, here with my partner in crime, DJ Bo.
What's up, what's up, what's up? How y'all doing?
First off, thank you to everyone who subscribed and commented. I was very surprised at how many good feedback we got off the first episode. Shout out to Ross, our last guest. We had a big week, man. I started off the day strong, hit the gym.
Yeah.
Hit the gym.
So you want to run into?
Did some running.
Okay.
Getting back in shape.
Right.
Last week we had the Overachievers. It should have been called an all-star show. That was, I think now at this point we're showing off. It's like some 92 Dream Team. Like they got to see Tony Woods just doing his primo material. My mom was in the building.
Yeah.
She's like, I like the Tony Woods. I like Christian Romimers. I like the Haywood Thorpseed. I like the white comedian. I was like, Andy Klein. Like, yes, I like Andy Klein. I was like, you like the whole lineup? I was like, not the whole lineup. I was like, what do you mean? The only person left is me. Like, how many times do I have to hear I look like an Uber driver? I get it. You look. I see you every day. It's no good. I was like, all right, Mom. You know. But nah, she had a great time. What did you think about the show?
I enjoyed it. That shit was dope. Woods is definitely my favorite, of course. But everybody bodied it, man. You know.
Yeah, Tony came through with the primo material.
Yeah, he was showing off a little bit.
He was in rare form.
Yeah,
he
man,
was
definitely
feeling it.
Showing off a little bit, but
I definitely felt like it was gonna be. As soon as I got up on stage, I just knew the energy was crazy. We packed it out again. Thank you guys to everyone who came out and bought tickets to that one, man. The next one, I think will be, dare I say, even better. June 14th.
pressure's on.
The lineup will be announced this week.
Season finale, right?
Season finale. We're going to take a couple months off, you know, hit a little meditation retreat, you know, tour the European mountains. I don't know if there is mountains, but we deserve to know if there is. We haven't taken a break in years.
Yeah.
It's been years. We might go back to Africa.
I need to.
Yeah. Well, I can come. Is there? I can do an Airbnb situation out there.
Yeah, no, fuck that. We got houses.
Hell yeah, we got the houses, plural.
Houses.
Bo got property. People don't understand. He's like an African king.
There's a backup plan, guys.
Yeah, he just came out here being a humble DJ, but he's actually, you know, my man owns plenty of goats back in Africa. Nah, I'm listening. Y'all
True story.
Like, yeah, it's not even. People are like, oh, you making that up. Like, no, Bo has plenty. It's actually a problem. He has to go back and claim his goats because people are stealing the goats. I'm not making this up, Bo. Help me out. You're making me seem. No, like
I mean you're doing such a good job. I don't want to like
tell him the story. Tell him the goat story.
So, well, first off, it's not a goat story. It's a land story. But I've gone to the age where I need to kind of go back and like kind of set my flag down. Cause
wait, first, what flag? Which flag?
So basically, my granddad had property, and before I left, my dad was kind of overseeing it. That's where we grew up. And then
how much land are we talking about? How much land are we talking?
Oh man,
we talking acres?
We're talking acres.
Hundreds of acres?
I don't know about hundreds, but we're talking acres.
Are you rich?
We're well off back home.
What kind of animals are we talking on the land? Are we talking about chicken, cows?
Yeah, I mean, as of now, we have we don't have cows.
Okay,
my grandma had cows. I don't know if she still has a cattle farm, but we had a bunch of goats. So you were right about the goats.
My man's balling. See?
Yeah, we had some goats, pigs.
That's currency.
My dad made $1 of pigs.
Okay.
Yeah, a good amount of pigs. A lot of chicken too. Because you could kind of do both. They help manure and
we eating good over here.
And meat and all that. So
yeah, this summer we're coming back to Cameroon to plant our flags, and I'll be in the background on Instagram Live, like, yeah, reclaiming land. That's gonna get easily 200 likes on IG.
Damn.
If I don't get 200 likes on a reclaiming land post with the goats. Like, yo, we just got back our goats. Now see us, and it's like a ditty. It's like a ditty. We're gonna do like a, what do you call those? We just talked about in the car, the little videos, the 3-second videos.
Oh, the boomerangs.
Boomerangs.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a little boomerang with the goats, like. brah, brah, brah. And they go, brah. And I'll be like, brah, brah, brah. And they go, brah. All right.
But you know, boomerangs don't got no sound.
I know, but it's going to, but you're going to see, it's going to be, you're going to have to like imagine the sounds that we making because the goat's going to be like excited.
Right.
Anyway, man, that was good. Yeah, man, that brings us, so we didn't announce the lineup for June 14th, but I will say this. Our next guest is on the lineup. It's going to be his third appearance on the Overachiever show, which I believe is tied for the most appearances on an Overachiever show with the only other person that has done it as much is our good friend Paris Sachet, which leads me to our guest today. He is the host and one of the founders of the Time Machine Roast.
Yeah.
One of the co-founders of the Underground Comedy Fest. One of my best friends. I'd say top 5 comedians. One of the best riffers in DC. If you want to riff, this is the guy to hire. I think it's on his link. I endorsed him on LinkedIn for best riff comedian in DC. Guys, give it up for the one and only Dylan Meyer.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me. Huh?
Hey, man.
Of course, man.
On episode 2, we had to come strong.
To the show.
Best riffer? Really? Wow.
Best riffs.
Hey, I'll riff to that.
Yeah.
Can I come to Africa, you guys?
Of course, man.
I promise not to plant any flags. I don't think they want any of my flags.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
After Black Panther,
I'll
not
take
a
some
good
flags
time.
up.
Not a good time.
Any white-looking flag, I'll remove from the premises.
Well, I appreciate that.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah.
I'm like a reverse colonizer.
There you go.
I don't know what that is.
That's you.
I just undraw state lines. That's all I'm there to do. Yeah. Man, I know you were rich. I don't know you were
I'm not rich,
back
man.
home rich.
I don't.
You got acres, bro.
I mean,
that's rich.
all I would say, my family were good, but we're not rich. And we grew up around rich people.
We just gotta swap out the goats for bitcoins. Be like, how many bitcoins can we get for these goats? And just like figure out the black market situation.
Bo knows goats.
Bo knows goats.
No thanks.
Yeah, you're being real humble. If your dad
no,
shows up,
no. Back
with,
to that point.
rose petals and stuff.
The reason I say I'm not rich is, I just felt like that's how most people should have grown up. Is just owning some kind of property. Because my roots are from there, so
Right.
you know, it was passed down from generation to generation. And I feel like most immigrants, that's what we fail to have here. It's just that.
Yeah, we started over.
over.
You
Yeah,
gotta start
so
from scratch.
yeah, so which is as backwards, but I do acknowledge that is some kind of richness to us, but we're not rich. We're just
That's okay. Don't feel bad about it. It seems like you got a great setup going on.
Yeah, don't worry.
I'd love to meet your family and animals someday.
Dope. Yeah,
I like animals.
It'll
man.
happen.
Animals are cool.
What's your animal of choice?
Boy, oh boy, I don't know. I mean, like realistically, or like, can I pick? You know,
No,
it's like unrealistic for me to want like a pet polar bear, but
Sure.
that would be cool. Like that would be very cool. I think, right? We can agree on that.
Yeah, it will be.
I don't know.
taking a polar bear
Practically,
class to like get him etiquette to teach him etiquette.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you can't just have a polar bear out, just chilling. He needs to go to some classes, I would imagine. Learn how to parallel park.
There's gotta be some certifications
Right.
that you need. Yeah, you can't just be like it can't just be like I bought one and then like all right,
No,
you
there's
own a
that-
polar bear now.
Yeah, because now you have to get him like trained.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of license. A vest he's got to wear.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, right. This sounds expensive.
It's got to like
Yeah.
at nighttime. It needs to be the one that glows in the dark.
One of those reflective
Because yeah,
vests. You can see him though. He's bright white.
not
And
all.
he's like huge. He's a polar bear.
I don't imagine all polar bears are white. I'm sure there's some ones with some
I think-
stripes.
Yeah. I'm sure there's not any of those stripes, actually.
I'm willing to bet money
I will bet that I'll bet you
that they're all white. All of
I'll
them.
bet you $5 that there's no striped polar
All right,
bears.
the striped one-
specifically. Yeah.
Sure, but I'm sure there's
Come
one
on,
that are
that's
like
I'm gonna Google this while y'all do that.
no,
All
don't
right.
don't.
Well, you're in airplane mode.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oh yeah, we are. in
Yeah,
airplane
that's
mode.
right. Welcome, welcome to the past.
That's right.
Yeah, I think I would want any animal that I could ride. You know, just for practicality's sake.
What about a giraffe?
That'd be cool.
Because
It'd
you're
be
already
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
tall, so you need an animal taller than you.
I feel like
I'd
the
feel bad
giraffe
if
and I
it's-
would relate.
Yeah.
On that note, like I also love those high leaves up there
Sure.
that no one else can reach.
Got some reach.
Yeah.
Yep. Got the
That's
neck.
why I'm always eating tree leaves.
Yeah.
You guys are always making fun of me
It's
for
one
that.
thing about Dylan. If you guys don't know, he loves tree leaves.
Keep them away from your hibiscus, or else
That's why he's always got those safari shirts because he's always like
I'm blending.
he's always blending
Yeah,
in,
you do have
so
like a
no one
lot
steals
of
his tree leaves.
vegetation on your
And then when
shirts,
someone
yeah.
starts eating his tree leaves, he just pops out of the bushes like, "Hey, those
That's
are my
why.
trees."
Yeah. Is he a tree or a man?
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Throw apples at them.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
While drinking Red Lobster beer. That's,
Yeah, I am drinking a. Oh, sorry, whoever
had-
works
we had-
in this office
we
that
had
was
a,
saving this for a
we had a,
special
we had a
occasion.
fridge full of beer with Sam Adams, Blue Moon, and then Dylan's like, "Oh, what's this? Lobster beer?"
Yeah, I've never. Well, okay, hold on. Let me first say,
You're like, out of all-
it's not like a lobster flavored
I'm-
beer.
I think that's what it is.
No. It's just called lobster ale. It says a red ale.
It's
from
just
Maine.
called Lobster Ale, but it doesn't taste like. There's no.
That wasn't the best point.
There's
I'll
no.
admit.
There's no lobster influence.
There is also a big
man.
claw as its logo, but it says Belfast Bay, a red ale from Maine. I think it's just, it's just Maine. You have a lobster. Why not, right? But this is definitely, the more I think about it, like someone who works here was like brought this from home.
Yeah.
And was like saving this till Maine
Well-
won the Ryder Cup or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
What is Maine good at? Ryder Cup's golf, right?
I would imagine.
Probably not.
I don't
yeah,
know about
no,
that
that's
culture.
yeah, it's golf, but I would imagine boating. They got some good
Yeah, like
boats.
a good sailing.
Good
America's Cup, maybe.
Yep.
Either way, they're not going to celebrate with this beer because I'm drinking it right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Maine person.
That's right. Enjoy.
Sucker!
Yeah. Take us back to your earlier ribs. When you were just a yee comedian, young,
Yeah. That's what yee
a
means.
young, yeah, a young man, 13, 14-year-old Dylan, his first riff when he discovered the power of
Oh,
riffing.
boy. I don't know. I definitely, the
You're in
earliest
class,
riffs,
algebra,
the earliest
you
riffs
know,
were 100% my brother and I
X's,
making fun of my dad.
X
for
and
sure.
Y's in the equation, and you're just
I
like,
know algebra.
boy,
Although,
if I could just riff my way out of this exam.
riffs would definitely be like, boy, I don't want to be in this class. So let me distract everybody.
We got to backtrack. We got to also
Yeah.
state another fun fact about Dylan Meyer. He's from Rockville, Maryland.
Wow.
Another Montgomery County.
Moco in the house, baby.
As you know, DJ Bo and I were of Silver Spring descent.
Yup.
Bo and I, we met in Argyle Middle School when Bo arrived from Africa.
Boat.
Yeah, not a literal. He flew.
Oh yeah, I did.
You
It was
guys
a
are
flying boat.
Yes,
Yeah.
flying boat.
Yep. Left his acres and all that gold he had
Yep.
to come live a humble life in
I
Silver
left
Spring.
Wakanda for America.
Yep. His goats are still suffering from depression from missing
Yeah.
Bo.
They're
The
just getting
dancing
all
goats.
goofy off vibranium.
His first audiences were goats. Just spinning records for goats.
I just want to make it clear that Dylan Meyer did not say the goat thing. I respect all people.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Bo and his goats, man.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
We're going to have a good Instagram video in this summer. Drop it.
Yeah, dude. You guys should go on world tour.
Shit.
You know what I mean? Why not? Take the
Why
summer off.
not?
Flex those abs. I know you're going for abs right now, Martin. I heard you went to the gym and ran earlier.
Yeah, I went to the gym.
You're on an ab hunt. I can
That-
sense it.
It's the abs, but it's also just not gaining more weight.
Sure.
That's what's hurting
You're
me.
liable to end up looking like me. I wonder what abs are like.
Abs.
Never had abs. Would love to know. I'll bet DJ was
You can
sneaking
get-
some
you-
abs
bro,
under
you-
there right now. You got abs, don't you?
They're overrated.
Okay. Oh, it says someone with abs. You wouldn't trade with me, would you? Of course not.
Dylan of Rockville descent. Tell us about Rockville High School, man.
Oh, boy.
Twin Brook Parkway, Norbeck.
Yep, little Baltimore Road action.
Okay.
Several cemeteries nearby. That was always weird. Creepy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's your standard Montgomery County
He went to Wood.
stuff.
He went to. Do you remember Wood?
Yeah. I remember
Probably would,
that.
baby.
Yeah. Oh,
Power
sure.
Drive. Actually, my whole middle school and high school experience was really jostled because they renovated our middle school and high school, like both while my class was there. So I never actually went to Wood. I showed up in 7th grade and we were over at Tilden. Yeah, which is going to be a very anyone listening to this podcast who's not from Montgomery County is gonna not understand any of this.
No,
but
I'll describe Tilden. Tilden is where
it was
Sam
like
and
the
Khaki
holding
Pants
school. Yeah, that's true.
was founded. J. Crew, plenty.
They were like that area was like in rec basketball.
It's
They were
Bethesda.
like the rich kids.
It's Bethesda. That's where Walter Johnson. That's the school that I talk about in my joke, getting transferred to rich private school. That's like where
Like farmland.
the kids went.
Yeah.
I went to WJ. Tilden went to WJ.
Yeah.
So it all comes full circle.
Yeah, those rich boys. But instead of them being there, it was us. So it's just a bunch of ragtag
Yeah.
ne'er-do-wells
Scattered.
that had to take this long-ass bus into this
And
nice
take us back to
neighborhood.
the early 2000s, because at the end of every episode, Bo does a mix. So we want to know 2001, 2002.
Story.
What was young Dylan listening to on the iPod?
The first, this is pre-iPod, I think. Or I did have one of those like
Zunes?
MP3 players. Remember, it was
Yeah.
like Nike. It was Nike. I was like,
Yeah.
Nike's making. Anyways, this was the wild west of MP3s, and you had to like preload the songs on your computer,
Yeah.
and they were in just like that set order. So you just had to know. There
Yeah.
wasn't like telling you the next song. You just had to know like, oh, that's okay.
Well, now we couldn't afford this technology at this point in our lives. But continue. We didn't go to Tilden, but
Neither did I, technically.
but you had a Nike MP3 player.
The first Nike doesn't make good electronics. Okay? It was meant for like jogging.
But you had it.
We did. Yes, that's true.
So what were you listening to? What were you rocking with?
the first album I ever bought
G Unit.
for myself
Nope.
was it was AZ
Ho.
Asiatic.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
The first one I ever bought because I was a big AZ fan.
I
And
did
that
not
came
see
out.
that
What
coming,
about
but
that
I
Came
love
out
it,
when I had like my first job. I was in like a freshman in high
What
school.
was it about AZ that you liked?
I don't know. He was, I mean, he had that, that like Nas. He and Nas were boys, and it just so happened to be like, I remember I got my first paycheck ever in life, and I went to Best Buy, over on Rockville Pike, and I was like, all right, let's buy a new CD. This is like a big deal for me. I was like, I'm gonna buy a CD. I'm sure it was like $400 back then for just one CD. But it was like new releases. I was like, "Ooh, AZ, hell yeah, dog!" And then
What drew you to AZ? Because he's a very insider hip hop.
The Firm, baby.
The Firm.
It was just one of the. I was looking at like the 10 or 15 albums that came out that week.
Were you
and
influenced?
I
Was
like,
there any?
No.
Were you in a group?
Ooh,
Social?
AZ.
Did your friends influence you? Did you have some like black friends that were like, "Yo, you gotta listen to AZ"?
No, AZ was already. The Napster days was just like obviously I knew about the whole.
For those who don't know,
days.
AZ, very underrated rapper who has, I'd say, arguably one of the best production like beats. It's like Nas if he had good beats.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a good take on it.
Because he was in a group with Nas at one point, and Foxy Brown and Cormega. I was a Cormega guy.
Cormega.
So if you want to get,
talk about a forgotten soul.
So
Cormega.
I grew up on the album The Realness, which was at the same time that you were probably listening to AZ. I was listening to Cormega because I was that fitted more of my theme.
And we were like not that far apart. Think about
That's
it.
right.
We're only like 10 miles apart
That's
at
right.
some point listening to these albums.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was back. That was back in the Jay-Z and Nas beef days.
Oh,
ninth
yeah.
grade Ether. Remember that?
Man, there was nothing bigger than like showing up to school and was like, "Did you hear?" That was all everyone talked about.
Yeah.
Remember when a new video would come out?
Hell yeah.
They'd drop a new video on like TRL and or
Back then it was
BET,
BET.
then
What was
like,
it? The BET countdown was a big.
106 in
106
Park.
106 in Park.
Yeah.
AJ and Free.
Yeah. Oh
Classic
yeah.
AJ.
Oh, Freestyle Fridays. Ooh.
Remember that? What was his name? Jin.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
happened to
Jin on Freestyle Fridays.
Oh my
I feel
god.
like I always have this conversation of what happened to Jin.
He ended up signing to
The Rough Riders, right?
Yeah.
And then he put out one album, and it was like everyone was like,
Well,
"Remember when you were battle rapping? That was
yeah. And
cool." You need a hook, I guess, if you're gonna.
well, that was that was like pre. I think if he like just the wrong time, man. If he had internet and a podcast, he
Yeah,
I
probably.
think
be
I
good.
remember. I remember like
You know what T-shirts Jin
downloading-
could have sold in 2000.
Seriously, he would have. I mean, if he was just like, if he could have been around for like, fucking, God, what was that shit? That the video that was like Vine. If he was around for Vine,
Oh.
just one punchline in and out, he would have 1 million followers right now. But
Yeah, or even Instagram.
yeah, he missed out.
Cormega's on, so his social media is terrible. I see Cormega's social media. I'm like,
How many-
man,
How many followers does he have?
not that many, but it's like sometimes I can like he like responds to my comments. I'm like, this is.
You're response to
This
your
is
comments?
sad. Yeah.
What do you
Mega.
I was
He's
gonna-
supposed to be bigger than this.
Well, I was gonna reach. I wanted to shoot a music video for him because this is back when I was shooting music videos. I was like, man, I'll shoot a music video. I'll help him out. You know, get him
Help him out.
get him some good quality stuff.
I respect the man. I'll throw him a bone.
Because it would be kind of cool to have shoot a music video for someone that you like grew up listening to.
Sure,
That'd
of
be
course.
great.
It's like opening for someone that you're like, oh, dude, holy shit, I used to fucking
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, Tony Woods. Going back to the Tony Woods discussions, like he was Comedy Central Presents season 1.
Yeah.
That was like the first time I ran into him when I was doing comedy. I was like, wait a minute, why isn't everyone freaking out?
Yeah.
That guy is on TV. Like, I know that guy's jokes.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, this is Tony.
Not just on TV, but just internationally. I remember I opened for Trevor Noah, and I was in the green room. And I was like, "Hey, Trevor, Tony Woods is here to see you." And he's like, "Tony Woods is here to see you," and he was like flipping out. And I was like, "What is going on?" And then, just realizing like how much reach Tony had, because people don't realize, man. He's just because he's still around DC doesn't mean like in the '90s and 2000s he's been doing international comedy festivals this whole time, like.
Yeah.
Decades, bro.
He's like, I think we're like sort of, we take it for granted that he's around. So when he shows up somewhere, we're not like, there's no murmur in the room. It's just like, oh, cool, Tony Woods is here.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone else in the world is like, yeah, you idiot. That's like a top 10 living comic right now that just walked in the room.
I think top 10 storyteller as well.
Mm-hmm.
His storytelling is, that show, man, we had was. That's why we got to stop doing shows because they're getting. I think we have to stop doing shows.
It's too good.
Honestly, man, I don't think people understand how good. Like they come and obviously everyone has a good time, but it's like you guys don't even fucking know, man.
Nah.
These lineups are just fucking nuts. Anyway,
Well, June should be pretty spicy.
June, yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. No, that one I had to turn it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's up to an 11 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But back to this High School Music though. You only gave us one.
AZ. Yeah, give us a palette.
Let's see.
Where are you cruising to?
So these were the first albums I like purchased. It was that. It was Jadakiss. I guess it was the one with "Knock Yourself Out" on it.
I know what you talk about.
No, from that era, right?
Yeah.
This wasn't a great purchase, but the Nori album.
Was it the what?
It was when he left. It was when he left and he stopped being Noriega.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he went to a new label.
Mm-hmm.
He had that one single on that album, right?
Yeah,
The one with,
I was gonna say where he's walking through the club, but
yeah, I
that's
know
every
exactly what you're.
single.
It's the one
Right,
that Pharrell.
right.
The Pharrell.
Grinding?
Yeah,
Is it?
grimy.
No,
I
not
think.
grimy.
What you-
Yeah.
yeah.
What you
trying
want
to
to do? Nothing.
Grimy.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Grimy was on the album too, but nothing.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Which was a banger. That was a club. That was a.
I still dropped that. No, it's still a
Yeah,
banger.
it was not a good album though. I'll be,
Yeah.
I'll be frank
Yeah,
with you.
fair.
There's like two singles, and then this song about he was talking to his mom. That was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And everything else was pretty
Yeah.
bad on it.
It's all good. Nori, he had a good run.
It did.
He's still, he's still relevant.
He did.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
poppin'
geez,
podcast.
that was his second like persona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just off the Noriega alone is like legend. So
So you got the Nori, you got the AZ, Jadakiss. Did you listen to any other genre of music besides rap? Or you just rap?
I was mostly rap, like Diplomats,
Yeah.
Locks, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
New York mostly. I didn't.
Oh, that's going to be a cool
Like-
mix at the end of this episode.
Was that album called "Kiss the Game Goodbye"?
I
Jadakiss
think
joint? Was
that.
that it?
Oh yes. And then
Those
the
are-
next one was Kiss of Death.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Kiss of Death, I think I liked better. That one had some great jams on that.
Yeah.
I really recommend it. If you haven't heard it, go to check out Jadakiss, Kiss of Death. I get paid $5 every time someone listens to any Jadakiss song.
Awesome.
If you go on YouTube, stream it for free. $5 to Dylan Meyer. Would you believe that?
Wow.
Yep. That's my version of goats.
Look at God.
Yep. Royalties.
I saw a meme of Jadakiss today with this. Like, every time I'm having a bad day, I look at Jadakiss's hairline, and there's like a picture of it. That was a meme, and then I was like, I gotta unfollow this guy. This guy hasn't.
mean.
It just hasn't been any good stuff coming from. I've been on an unfollowing streak lately, just because I'm just like just being bombarded with like these terrible memes.
Yeah. Don't you hate when
bad
you see a bad meme and like they put their handle like real prominently? I'm like, you sure you want everyone to know you were responsible for this?
Well, you went to Rockville. Then did you go to Montgomery College, or did you go straight to the 4-year?
Oh no, everyone dabbles at Montgomery College for a little bit. Yeah, that's where you
Did a
go.
little community college stint.
You know, you go.
JUCO.
You find out where else you can buy weed near your house, and then that was it. Got out of there.
Did you get a basketball scholarship? For those, so Dylan is 6'4".
You know, and 5/8. But I mean, who's counting at this point?
He's never held a basketball in a day of his life. Just
When I showed up to middle school,
Yeah.
I never did play basketball, and I could not be any worse. Like if you just picture someone who's very bad at basketball,
that's gotta traumatize you, just having blessed with height and then just not being good.
because everyone assumes is just
Right.
like, oh, I'll take the tall kid. Don't know him. Look how tall he is, though. He's gonna be great. I can already
But
imagine.
you did play for the team, right? At one point.
In middle school, like 7th grade, it would have been absurd for me to try out for the team. I would have been laughed out of the gym. But just like who my friends were and how freakishly tall I was, it was like, yeah, I should probably like figure out how to play basketball. So in 8th grade, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try out. You know, and then I got cut, so I was like, all right, well maybe.
You didn't make it in middle
Didn't
school.
make it in middle
with the
school,
height?
baby. No, they didn't. There was another tall kid, so they didn't need me. They're like, this guy doesn't fall down as often.
And that's when Dylan picked up a pen and paper and started writing these riffs.
Just got my riff.
The origin story.
So I was like not too concerned that it didn't result in me going to North Carolina on a full academic scholarship. Obviously,
Instead, you played for Montgomery College.
no, I
No?
didn't. No, well, I got a couple conversations about playing for like Frostburg and stuff like that, but I was like, I'm not gonna. What's the point of that?
But like,
Like, hell yeah.
But like all this time, you know, like you knew you were funny. Like,
Yeah, I always knew I was going to become a comedian eventually.
yeah.
I just kept having a lot of really convenient excuses not to.
When did it click? Like, yo, I'm gonna do this.
I think
Like,
I just
for
had like I just had nothing else going on, and I just felt like all my friends were starting to like they're getting to the point where they're like graduating college and they're like starting to get their shit together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, because like while my friends were away at college, it was like we're all just kind of like college age, you're like kind of living poor and you're just like drinking beer and whatever. It's all fun. And then they started getting like real people jobs, and they're like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna just drink at your house tonight. I think we're gonna like go out. And I was like, going out. I don't know how to afford doing that. I gotta get like a real thing going on. And then instead of that, I did comedy. I was like, I got to get my life together. So I started doing comedy, which was the opposite probably of getting your life
It's
together.
like Plan C.
It was like the plan A that I just like kept putting off.
Oh, so you really you knew you wanted to do this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I was 18, my brother, for my 18th birthday, he took me to DC Improv to see Mitch Hedberg.
Holy shit, that's dope.
And it was like,
I didn't know you can get in when you're 18.
I don't think I was supposed to, but I think they like snuck us in or something. Just a lot of like, there's like 6 dudes that are all like flashing IDs.
That's dope. How was the show?
It's incredible. It was unbelievable. Because I like knew him, I like knew his jokes, but this was like back when you would put out an album and then that was it. So you come out and like these are all new jokes, and there was no internet like big stuff going on, so it wasn't like you could hear all those jokes the week before on this podcast or something. It was like all that shit
Fresh.
was
That's crazy.
fresh to me.
Seeing Mitch Hedberg headline at the Improv, and then
It
who do you think
was-
was featuring? Andy Klein,
It was
probably.
Eric Myers.
Oh,
And I remember it specifically because that was when I was like, wait a minute, because they announced they were like the feature act, Eric Meyer, and they said he was from Columbia, Maryland. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, comedians come from New York or L.A.
Right.
yeah.
What do you mean Columbia, Maryland? That didn't make sense. It truly, it sounds stupid now, but like, it never really processed in my mind that you could
Do comedy.
do comedy not
from here.
in New York
Yeah.
or L.A. And I was like, Columbia, Maryland, like that's no bigger than Rockville, Maryland.
Right.
And at that point, I was like, all right, I guess I could do this.
Yeah.
But then I just waited like several years after that to actually try it.
It makes sense.
But that was the moment that I was like, oh, it's not insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of insane, but it seemed less insane in that moment, at least.
It seemed real for the first time. I guess.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. Like I thought I had to move to New York and
Yeah.
get a job as a waiter, and that's how everyone does it. But apparently not.
Yeah, you didn't have to go too far.
Yeah,
You went down. You went across the
Grill.
street to Potomac Grill,
Shout out to Grill Mafia.
and yeah. And then you started. What year did you start?
I am 7 years in now, so 2011, I guess.
Okay. And then your first mic was in Rockville,
Potomac Grill, yeah.
and you
Wow.
stayed there for 5 years.
No, at this point, well, yeah, almost like 4. Yeah, that was my first mic. That was I met you there. I met Benji, who obviously we see each other all the time. It was kind of crazy how many people.
It was Rob Mayer's room.
Yeah, Rob Mayer was. I guess I didn't realize it at the time, but like we were really fortunate to have, like a seasoned veteran. I mean, Rob at this point is like Tiffany Haddish's like feature act in theaters, and he was just there like in a seafood restaurant
Yeah. Wow.
on a show up, sign up, open mic, like straight up, no stage or anything. The stage area was next to the door where people walked in. And they had one of those things where, like, when the door opens, it goes beep, 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 beep. So it's like you're in the middle of a joke, and you're like beep, 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 beep. And then a family of 4 walks in, and they're like, "Oh my God, what's happening?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "I'm so sorry, but the punchline of this joke is like anal sex. So I'm sorry that I ruined your night out, but I have to finish this joke." It was rough, but he was. He was cool, obviously, but he was very
Yeah.
tough love and was like, "Don't do that. That's stupid. You're ruining that joke." Or like,
Quit comedy. Like, what?
yeah. Or like, he was like, "You're not gonna get better at just being here. You have to like go somewhere else. Like, I like you showing up here, but like you have to try other things." And
Yeah. And then fast forward, you moved to DC,
mhm.
and then we started hanging out. And then we had this, like, we hung out one time at your place, and we were just talking about, because when you moved, you were, like, really trying to get into the DC scene, which at that point isn't
Yeah.
where it is now. This is, like, 2 years back. There was maybe, like, there's a good amount. Big Hunt was popping still.
This
It was like,
was
the beginning of
I think when I showed up, it was like
2015.
just after Big Hunt had really become. It was still, I think, only on Mondays. I think at that point.
Maybe.
But it was like it at that point was like it was like you got to go to Big Hunt.
Yeah. No, Wednesdays. I think they always had Wednesdays, and they added Mondays. Mondays was,
Or maybe that was it. It was only one day a week.
Mhm.
It was before they added a second day, and so it was it was like so hard to get on it because there was only one of them and everyone wanted it.
Right.
Oh my God, what a miserable situation. So yeah, I showed up and it was like you knew me and Milner knew me and some other men like Benji and some other people knew me, but it wasn't like I had been up in the mix for years like everyone
Yeah.
else had. So it was like I showed up and I was like, "Oh, this is my friend from camp," and you guys just were like, "Hey, this guy's cool.
This guy's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it just takes time. It takes time.
Yeah.
It took you.
took a lot of time. Yeah,
Took you 10 years, and nah, Dylan. Yeah, it was 2 years. 2 years of just like going from not being on to like getting on at like and at the best spots.
I remember that it was for like 6 months. It was like I couldn't get on anything I wanted.
Yeah.
And so I would just go to these other things almost begrudgingly, and was like, I don't know, just kind of like took that as a little chip on the shoulder, kept it moving, kept showing up to Jackpot.
Right,
you know,
right.
Took those lumps. Those were
Shout out to the Monday spot.
those were.
For those who don't know, Jackpot was an old comedy
man,
spot that
yeah.
I ran with DJ Bo and my co-host Jamel Johnson. Salute to Jamel out in LA now. Yeah, man, we had a show that was it was a Monday workout spot. It was like the Wild Wild West. Anything goes. People heckled you. People didn't pay attention. They'd rather watch basketball on TV while
all
you're
the
on
TV's
stage.
on.
Yeah. Abdullah R.I.P. throwing people out, knocking people out in the background. The security, that was the environment back in the Jackpot days. So
It was wild.
that's where you got your chops. It was definitely a good working spot to like get ready for the the better rooms.
It was like you hate yourself during that set,
Yeah.
but then the rest of the week you were better for it.
Yeah, fast forward, man. You got into. I remember just telling you, just all you gotta do is just like, because people don't know you. So when they don't know you, just go and do your A shit until people like know, like, oh, okay, this guy's got the heat. And then fast forward, man, you went from getting no spots to like I think like 2 spots a week, and then gradually.
Yep, I remember getting like a couple spots a week and still having a chip about it. I wanted all the spots, baby.
I want it all.
I wanted, yeah. So I don't know, man. That's why it's weird whenever someone, because I'm sure you get this all the time too. People all the time are like, "Hey, how do I get on such and such?" It's almost always Big Hunt or DC Improv. Like, how do I get on that? And I don't. I guess they think I have like a secret password that I said. I'm like, oh, you got to email this secret email address.
Right,
That's
right,
how you get all the
right.
spots. But no one. There's 3 people that have ever asked me like, how do you get better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's what people need to actually focus on.
That's what you should ask Dylan Meyer.
Yeah.
How do I get better?
Please don't ask me. Please don't message me. Here's how you get better. Go out and just like suck quietly for a year. Just go out and just don't tell everybody you're doing this show. Just fucking sneak on there, figure your stuff out, be bad for a while, and then figure out what works, and then just be okay for like a year, and then figure out what works, and then be good for a year, and then people will start noticing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't promote your shitty open mic shows.
Yeah.
Just get good. Just fucking get good, man.
It's like, I know it's exciting, but when
Stop
you first
going
start,
on Instagram Live
Yeah,
to tell
man.
us you're doing a show in Columbia, Maryland. We don't care.
don't step on it and be like, that's right, I'm starting comedy. Come out to this open mic.
But
I'm
having
going up
having
15th.
said that, it's
You
not like
will hate it.
I did that. And what happens?
We all did.
Yeah, you get
We all
excited.
did.
You're excited.
Yeah, you're excited.
you
People are
share
like,
it.
I gotta come see your shows.
Yeah.
And you don't know that it's a bad show. It's not until later that you're like, that was a bad show. Like,
Right.
Years later.
But in the moment, like that's the best show you've done, which is like how you treat it, and which is I
Right,
get it.
exactly.
It's exciting.
Exactly.
How long does it take to get good though? Like on
Man,
average.
that
I
shit
think it
can
depends
take-
on the person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that shit. And it's subjective. It's like what is good? Like, he's like, what is good? Like, are you good at open mic good? Are you showcase good? Are you touring?
It's just funny.
I think there's certain comics in DC right now that are excellent at crushing. But when they're not crushing, they're not very good at getting back to that.
Yeah.
So it's like if everything's working, they're like fantastic. But if something goes awry, they're very not good at getting back on track. And there's other people that will like never bomb, but they never crush. They're always like keeping it level, sort of.
They can maintain.
Right.
Yeah, and keep in mind these are only the same spots. So they're like that means they're like DC funny. The moment they go like 10, 15 miles outside of DC, then they're not in their element. And a lot of these
So
guys
different.
a lot of these people have never even tried to do comedy outside of like the 3 mile radius
Yeah.
of
Right.
like Big Hunt. And that's why I'm saying like what's like how long it takes. It's like all right, maybe 5 years to get DC funny,
Right.
and then another 5 years to get like East Coast. Because then you start traveling out. Like I just did a show in Ashburn on Saturday. Hosted a show in a rec room in Loudoun County for a group of like rich homeowners. and it's just it's not like Big Hunt. It's
It's not.
definitely
It's
a
so different.
different vibe.
Yeah.
I did a show last Wednesday, which I talked about on stage at the Overachievers show. I hosted a Rotary. I performed at a Rotary club, which was like probably one of the worst / best experiences. Put me on at the end. Everyone in the audience is like 80 years old and up, and they paid me like a lot of money, and they just stared at me.
Rotary money, dog. I still have no idea what a Rotary Club is.
It's honestly,
I've heard of them for years.
It's an excuse.
No idea.
It's an excuse for like older people to congregate to just drink and like give money to like a good cause and feel good about themselves. It's like a social club.
Yeah.
You know,
If there are any Rotary clubs out there, you can contact me at booking@DylanMeyerComedy.
bro. They paid me.
Rotary me.
I got like new Jordans.
A lot of jacket money.
A lot of new. Like I had a fresh outfit the next day because it was so sad. I had to walk off the stage like, all right, well, you know, guys, I'm gonna, you know, I did my 15-20.
Yeah.
They paid me like $500 for 20 minutes. I was like, all right, let me just take this check.
Hey, hey, man, we've done enough gigs where we got criminally underpaid. If someone wants to overpay me, I'm not about to stop.
I wouldn't even say that's over. That's like that's about my that's like the bare
going rate.
That's bare minimum now to get
That's
me.
the new set rate.
Because at this point it's like Chappelle said in the special, like, yo, man, I get paid for the attempt. Like I don't get, you know what I mean? It's
That's right.
Okay.
He gets paid for shooting a shot, not for going in.
This shit ain't no promise. No disclaimer. This shit might not. Because like
May not be what you're looking for.
The guy who booked me for that saw me at the DC Improv, and you know, obviously the Improv is the ideal place for comedy.
Right. It's
now
different.
you have me at a banquet in College Park with these high ceilings. You know what I mean? And
People are eating.
round tables. Yeah, a buffet line, and everyone in the audience like literally 70 and up. And it's like, what am I going to talk about that connects with these people?
Yeah, I don't know if they use Uber all that often when they're 70.
And it's not even that. And on top of that, they're like, don't do political stuff. Be squeaky clean. And it's like, all right.
Don't talk about yourself or dating. You're like, what? On Friday, I did a benefit show for a volunteer fire department in Pasadena, Maryland.
Oh, man.
And
was that the one that Umar was on?
Oh, yeah, baby. There was a Blue Lives Matter flag, like, as the backdrop for the stage. And I was like, has anyone here has anyone here seen me before? Why did you book me for this?
Well, that's the thing. Like, when you say that, like, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, Pasadena, firemen. Yeah. They don't, bro, like, only where we perform is where they give a fuck about liberal like shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We live in we live in a fucking bubble, bro.
Super bubbles.
Nobody gives a fuck about like minorities.
No, just like when we went to pick up the shirts, like it wasn't that far away.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
was like-
I mean I wrote that bit based on like that whole drive of being on 95 and seeing a Confederate flag and
go an hour in any direction.
Any direction.
from DC, and they're not gonna think your Trump jokes are cute. You know?
Not at all. Not at all. And
And to be fair to them, like this is just not what they want to hear.
Not what
and
they want.
Paid money. And
Yeah.
they came out. They want to be entertained.
Yeah.
And just because you are like, oh well, but the thing about Trump, you know, like they don't give a shit.
They
just
don't
like
give a
fucking
shit,
make them
bro.
laugh
Yeah.
and like.
that's what I did in Ashburn in Loudoun County. I mean, the cool thing is a lot of the stuff that I have now is it's not polarizing. It can go either way. Even if you fuck with Trump or you don't fuck with Trump, I got a little something for everybody.
Sure.
So I could that's one thing. I've been able to escape Gainesville, like on a slim margin, but I've been able to escape through.
Tires screeching.
Yeah. But it's been good. It's been good for me. That's why I say like, how long does it take to get funny? It took me 5 years in DC to get my chops up in DC.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing Gainesville, Ashburn. Dylan's doing like I did a Pasadena fire show like a few years back. Didn't go good, but I think now, now
you do a lot better.
Dude, in the past year alone, I've gotten so much exponentially better. But the point I'm saying is like you have to try. You have to take L's.
Yeah.
That's really
Yes.
the ironic, the most ironic shit about the Rotary show was they were giving an award to a coach, Morgan Wooten, who for some know,
Oh yeah, baby.
he's
5-star basketball.
He's the biggest. He's like he holds the record for the most wins in the nation of any high school, collegiate, whatever. He was a coach at DeMatha for many years, and he has books on just winning, like how to win. Like he's just like all time win leader.
Yeah.
And I'm literally on stage bombing, taking an L in front of the most winningest coach in the history, and he's just looking at me, shaking my head like, "You gotta hit the gym, kid."
Tie those shoes tighter.
Yeah.
Pull those socks up.
Oh no.
Beers opening and stuff.
Yep.
Hell yeah, man. No, I think it's important. I mean, yeah, like we were saying, you learn pretty quickly when you get out of DC or even maybe like New York or LA. Like those are very bubbly places.
Yeah,
if you can get out,
but you
even
learn.
like Frederick. Even if you can get out to Frederick, it's like,
oh boy, oh yeah.
You know, there's still plenty of liberal people out there. There's like I think like an arts college right in Frederick.
I took a big L in Frederick not too long ago, man.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I was out there with Eddie pretty recently, and we both were like getting pretty sweaty up there. Yeah. I mean, you had to work for it, but how much better is that, right? Like, you had to work for it, and when you get it, you're like, okay, so that joke does work outside the bubble.
Yeah, which it makes you interesting because like you do hunt a lot, and you're like, you normally always do well. But when you travel, it's like, how does that affect like your set? Like if you do, when you're traveling, what do you change it up? Do you not do political stuff? Because you got enough non-political stuff, but how does that affect you? Or does that make you even want to rewrite some stuff or do new, like focus on non-political stuff?
I think anytime you get out of the DC bubble, you immediately are smacked in the face with like, I got pretty comfortable in there. Like,
oh man,
because everything is just. I mean, you know, some of it you can just sort of. Because there's like the clapter comedy.
I almost feel
where you
like
can just be like, "Hey, Trump sucks," right? And then the whole room is going to be on your side.
I think it's harder for you than it is for me because like I look different. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
But, like I'm like by default they're like, all right, they're already like, what's this guy's story? Because by like, I don't realize like when I leave DC, like, dude, it's pretty white. Like it's like that.
Yeah, a lot of white.
Dude,
a lot of white in the middle of the country.
A lot of white.
Yeah, it's like a quadruple stuffed Oreo. It's like all the colors on.
And so
on
like,
the coast.
and the way I dress, the way I talk. That's why I bombed in Frederick because it's just they didn't even like. I don't think they. I was just too swag. I just was too comfortable in my own skin, and they just like they weren't vibing with it. But I feel like with you, they see you, and it's like, oh well, you know,
a good old boy.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I mean, a little bit, but I also look ridiculous enough. I mean, I'm cruising in there with.
But
like,
yeah, I'm saying that. But how does that affect your material? Because that's why I'm saying it's harder for you because I'm saying like they don't know what to expect, and then when they hear you, if you were to do your typical DC set in a red area, that's where the challenge is. It's like,
I think where I can work that to my advantage is that people see me and they're like, okay, so this guy's like obviously some fucking pothead goofball, and so they immediately put they like infer about a bunch of things about me. So if I can approach one of those stereotypes that they assume about me, it then sneak to the other side at the last second. They're like, hey, wait a second, that's not what we expected. And then you can also, I mean, you know, like everyone, I can assume that anyone in any town in, you know, any town in America is like, oh, that guy smokes weed just by like looking at me. Yeah. So knowing that is like a card in my hand, not theirs.
That's pretty cool.
Because like
that's
I can play that when I want.
Yeah, that's a good tool. That's a good tool. Weed is a very universal thing until you hit the religious pockets or until you hit the like there's a conservative. We don't think weed's cool.
Well,
that older audience,
even if they don't think it's cool, I can still be like, I can still flirt with it, and maybe I say like, oh, I don't smoke weed, I just sell it, or like whatever, you know, like as long as I'm addressing it, you know, there's like elephants in the room when any of us get on stage to an extent.
Yeah.
And you gotta kind of mention them.
Has there what was it? So the Pasadena, you never finished the story. So you go up at the past Blue Lives Matter.
So,
which I'm starting to like. Whenever you're in front of like people in like whether it's police officers or I just understand it's just a different world.
Right.
They're a frat. It's a fraternity at this point.
The fraternal order. Yeah, and I don't have anything against, firemen or thinking that cops shouldn't die. Yeah. Sure, that makes perfect sense. But like the whole basis of the movement is like a little dicey. I mean, it's obviously a response to Black Lives Matter, and it's sort of tone deaf to. No one was ever like, well, cops' lives don't matter. Anyway, I'm getting way too fucking political. This is stupid. I'm losing Instagram followers right now. Okay, so it was just like, we're there to make money for the fire department. So like, we're all the comics are understood to be there. Like,
who's hosting?
It was Simbaza. Tommy Simbaza was hosting, and he went up and he's done this room before, or like this might be like a every year type of thing, but I know he's been there before, and so. I was like, all right, he kind of knows them. He knows their sensibilities. And he was pretty blue up front, doing some, some sexually driven material. And I was like, okay, like that's, I would say like most shows I wouldn't advise that from the host set. But for this, I was like, oh, okay, thank God. So like everything's on the table. Yeah. Which I was super thankful that he did that. And then Umar went first, and he just knew that like they were like, oh, it was a totally like a black sheriff moment where they were like, wait a minute, that guy's not white. Literally the only non-white person in the building, so again, elephant in the room, like he had to address that sort of, and like, and he was smart about picking. He has plenty of jokes that they would not have loved.
Right.
And he was smart about which jokes he went with and stuff like that. And then later, I will say that the headliner, he did say at one point that he's like, I think Trump's my favorite president. And there was some applause. There's some applause, and I was like, all right, fine. I mean, whatever.
we get it, Pasadena.
Like, we get it, man. Yeah, you hated that brown guy earlier. We hear you loud and clear. But no, I just did. I don't know. There was like someone in there that was like a teacher, and so I talked to them about teaching for a little while. I have like a fairly new teacher bit. I was like, all right, I'll just use this. Yeah. Just kind of talked to them a little bit, leveled with them about, I was like, what do you do? This is all the firemen that they're here. What happens if there's a fire? Like, are you guys, like, is there a truck that's just going to like, this is where they park the trucks? Like, did you guys like send them away for the weekend? Are we in danger? But no, I did fairly normal stuff, talked about myself, and then did some sex stuff. And Chris Rock was like, he's like, doesn't matter where you are on Earth, he was talking about topical stuff. He's like, political stuff, it comes and goes. You can write a joke and it's like no longer important the next week. Yeah. But no matter where you are, no matter what age or demographic people are, people date and people have sex. And so if you can get a good dating or sex joke, anyone can get it, like no matter where you are. And so I always try and have one of those in the back pocket.
Yeah. Come through. When's the next Time Machine roast?
June 20th at DC Improv.
So for everyone listening in Bolivia and Iran
and Cameroon,
get your passport. Come to DC and go check out. What's the date?
June 20th.
June 20th.
Yeah, we're gonna have some bangers on that one. Tanile, Joe Kim coming through. Klein Dog on it. Andrew Dice Klein is going to be on it.
What?
DC Improv, check it out. It's a great show. We had it on the Underground Comedy Fest.
Yeah,
one of the highlights.
It was sweet. Oh man, that was fun.
It's every month.
It's I don't know. It's like we tried to get like a monthly date nailed down, but things are a little volatile. So we pretty much just try and make it every month. As often as possible, basically. Okay. Yeah. But we'll be back in Baltimore again soon, too. I think we'll go back up to Joe Squared in probably July. Try it again up there. We just did the first Baltimore one last week, and that was a lot of fun. So
keep in the row, baby.
Gotta keep those elephants.
Yo, it's like it's a theme show where everyone does a character, historical figures, and they roast each other. It's like being back in Silver Spring at the bus stop. Just like,
The lunch table.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Talking about taking L's, dude. Middle school lunch table.
I was a king of the lunch table, man.
Yeah, I took
Not
some
me,
L's.
dude. I took major L's.
Yeah.
No good clothing over here.
That was my training camp. I was fresh to death.
Oh man.
Poor DJ Bo over here. He had a tough time.
Yeah, I took a lot of L's.
Yeah, I took
for
major
Let's
L's.
just say he was on the other side of the cafeteria. Wasn't on my
Boy.
side. It wasn't on my side. I'll tell you
I
that.
was definitely not at the popular kids
See,
table.
I told you I wasn't rich. I couldn't afford the kicks, man. Just
Hell yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I
But
had,
Bo's come a long way. Bo's come a long way, man.
No, he's good,
He's an overachiever.
Well, we saw DJ Bo at the Red Bull
Three style.
U.S. Open.
Oh my
Like
goodness,
the finals, national finals.
bro! We brought the flag out.
okay,
We repped hard.
deep.
Everyone knew.
We got to drop a video of that, like the video that we have with Bo on stage and us chanting. We got some good. We got some good.
Footage.
We got some
Never had anyone chant my name. That must have felt cool.
Bo 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 Bo. Yo, like we had the place rocking.
Yeah,
Nah,
man.
that shit felt dope up there, man.
I don't know if there's ever going to be an opportunity for people to chant my name. Comedy is not like a chant your name type of
Oh,
thing.
I think I'll get my
You know
name
what I
chanted. I think I'll get my name
Yeah, it
chanted.
can happen.
But like, think about the last time you ever saw a comedy show.
Chappelle.
People were
I
like
think
chanting
Chappelle.
their
I
name.
think Chappelle got it. Chappelle, I went to see him at the Warner for this taping.
Mhm.
I think they made him chant.
Oh yeah, because the DJ comes out at the beginning and he's like getting
Right.
everyone all squared up.
Oh, you weren't at we had a hype man at the last Overachievers.
Ooh.
Shout out to
Shouts out to Have Mercy.
shout out to Mercy. We had a hype man.
Yeah.
Yeah, hype man. Yo, so
I'd like to be a hype man one day. It seems like
it's
it
pretty.
seems like it's hard work
No, it's pretty-
during,
yeah, it's
and then afterwards you don't have to do anything.
it's pretty nuanced stuff. It's like you gotta like you gotta get some good
you gotta,
ad-libs.
you gotta have a towel or white T-shirt that you can.
Because the problem
wave
with
and
that
pump.
is it's
That's
like a
always
lot of
fun.
it is like because I would go like, yo, 5 minutes, and he's like, yo, 5 minutes till we start the show. Y'all ready? And it would be like 2 minutes. Like, yo, it's 2 minutes. We about to start the show in 2 minutes. And then I'm like, stretch it. He's like,
Actually,
Mercy came out. He's like, yo, dog, I said everything I needed to say. I can't. And I was like, dude, then I'm sorry. I just go back. We have a line. People are buying alcohol right now.
Oh my God.
And then he's just like chilled. I was like, just chill out, dog. It's not.
he's
that
looking
bad.
at a piece of paper and like, "Are you ready?" is scratched out, and he's like, "Okay, let's see.
I mean, bro, that's basically what happened.
Are you guys prepared?"
That's why I've tried to do the club hype for Bo,
Mhm.
because if Bo does, he has his own nights at clubs, and I think I've attempted. I don't
Yeah.
even know if I've attempted, but I've tried to like get on them. It's like you gotta know, like you have to have lines, like stock lines,
Yeah.
Gotta have stock lines.
like the Weems, like these are lights from the Old Country Buffet, like those good
Yeah.
stock.
Yeah. You gotta have stock lines, and you also have to have stuff that you can say with people yelling over you. Like you can't be trying to be like, and if you drove a yellow Nissan Maxima license plate, like people are
Yeah,
already,
right.
you just
Tune
have
you
to
out,
be
yeah.
like, and next, and
Right.
it doesn't matter if they're listening to you, sort of.
Right. Yeah.
The hype man.
That's why the
hype
single.
man
That's why
game.
the single ladies is the stock. Single ladies make it's like the most stock, but it works. It's been working since 1972.
Single lady. Yeah, man, because single ladies they're out there,
Oh, they're out
and
there,
they're very excited about them being ladies and single.
right?
Yep.
And letting everyone know in the
Mhm.
club.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very important. The free drinks will flow this way, please.
Yeah, right. Yes, I'm available to have alcohol purchased for me. I wish there was a thing I could do.
Just go to a gay bar.
I should just call myself a single lady. Actually, I've been to gay bars before, and I get quite a bit of attention. I'll have you know.
Starting center for Rockville,
Every-
Maryland.
Every time I get low self-esteem,
Frostburg University.
yeah, I got a couple offers. Yeah, nothing really.
What's your IG handle for the people, man?
It's your boy Debo, but there are underscores there. I'm so sorry.
Well, I gotta ask you about that. What's up with Debo?
That was just a nickname that in like middle school, like pretty quickly I got to middle school and someone was like, "Hey, Debo," and I was like, "What?" And you're like, "Your name has a D in it and you're big, so that's it. You're Debo now." Rolled with it ever since. Yeah,
Okay.
it was bestowed upon me. I didn't steal anyone's bike or chain or anything.
That you made somebody run in a car.
I did borrow someone's bike once, and the tire got all fucked up. And I was like, I'll fix it for you. And I never did. And then he moved. Sorry if you're listening to this, Mike Reed.
And that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for listening. If you don't already, please subscribe and let your friends know if you rock with the show. Let your friends know if you don't rock with the show. Let the streets know. Thank you guys for tuning in.
In the streets.